Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Tata Sons joins the spate of parent companies cashing in on high Indian valuations. Looks to raise over $1 billion by selling 0.65% stake in TCS. The sale to be executed through block deals at 4,001 rupees per share. The move is also likely in line with Tata Sons' plan to cut debt to comply with RBI's upper layer NBFC regulations. Supreme Court says there is no manner of doubt that it had directed SBI for all electoral bond details in its February 15th order. Orders the bank to disclose unique serial number details to the Election Commission, seeks an affidavit of compliance from SBI chairman by the 21st of March, brushes aside the centre's concerns over the verdict being misused on social media. Industry bodies CII, FICCI and ASSOCHAM asked the Supreme Court to defer its order asking for disclosure of unique serial codes of electoral bonds, say anonymity is critical for preserving donor privacy and guarding against adverse reactions from opposing political factions. A CNBC-TV18 News break has confirmed that Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC promoters will sell up to 11.5% stake via an offer for sale tomorrow and day after. As per SEBI norms, the company has to mandatorily reduce promoter stake to 75% by September this year. Aditya Birla Capital and Sun Life India AMC investments together hold over 86% in Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. As the Model Code of Conduct kicks in, Election Commission of India orders the removal of West Bengal Director General of Police, issues orders to remove Home Secretaries in 6 states including Gujarat, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Himachal and Uttarakhand. Administrative Department Secretaries in Mizoram and Himachal have also been removed. Mumbai's Municipal Authority Chief Iqbal Chahal also transferred. Vladimir Putin is set to overtake Joseph Stalin as Russia's longest-serving leader as he claims a landslide victory in the presidential elections. Brushes off Western criticism that the elections were staged, managed, uses his victory speech to warn of a possible third world war if NATO enters Ukraine. Italian luxury brand Bulgari is hot on India, says the country can be among its top 5 markets in the next decade. The CEO tells CNBC-TV18 they're planning to open 2 to 3 boutique stores in the coming years, says they aim to increase distribution in India by 3 to 4 times. Royal challengers Bangalore clinched their first win at the Women's Premier League, beating Delhi Capital by 8 wickets in the finals. RCB's Elise Perry won the orange cap for scoring 347 runs in the season. The purple cap was presented to Shriyanka Patil. UP Warriors Deepthi Sharma won the most valuable player title for the season. Well, we'll get to the WPL in just a second, but the action on the market, starting with what transpired on Dalal Street today. Despite some early weakness, Indian indices did manage to break into positive territory as the day progressed. The Nifty and the sensex managing to end a volatile session in the green. We saw some bargain hunting and resilience by large cap counters, which offset caution ahead of the US Federal Reserve's rate meeting later this week. So that's the story, just about in the green. That's the Nifty and the Sensex. The mid-cap index closing 180 points lower, and the small-cap index was down by about 0.5% or so. So closing in the red there for the mid-caps and small-caps. And speaking of the markets, the US exchange Nasdaq has said that it has resolved a technical issue that disrupted the exchange for more than 2 hours. Nasdaq clarified that all its systems are operating normally. However, details on the severity of the glitch have not been revealed by the exchange just yet. This is the second glitch the company has encountered in the recent months. The big CNBC-TV18 story, Tata Sons plans to raise around 9,200 crore rupees, that's over $1 billion, by selling 2.34 crore shares of tech giant TCS. The sale will be conducted through block deals and shares are being offered at 4,001 rupees per share. That's a 3.6% discount to the last traded price. 2.34 crore shares works out to about 0.65% in the company, and the sale will bring Tata Sons' stake in TCS, which stood at 72.38% as of December 2023, to 71.73%. Now, this is likely to be part of Tata Sons' plans to reduce debt, thereby being in compliance with the RBI rule that mandates a public listing for Tata Sons, which has been classified as an upper layer non-banking finance company. Interestingly, the sale will also make Tata Sons the latest parent company to cash in on rising valuations in the Indian stock markets. TCS has risen over 30% in the last year, hitting an all-time high of about 4,250 just earlier today. So that's the big corporate story. Let's now turn our focus to the electoral bond saga. The data from political parties on bonds and cash during the April 2019 to January 2024 period has revealed more granular details. Now, as per data compiled by the Association for Democratic Reforms, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the BJP, has encashed electoral bonds worth over 6,060 crores. Of this, bonds worth 5,854 crores belong to 1 crore rupee denominations. The BJP is also the top beneficiary of the electoral bond scheme, accounting for a 47% share of all bonds encashed by political parties. At number 2, the Trinamool Congress, the Indian National Congress at 3, the Bharat Rashtra Samiti and the Biju Janata Dal complete the top 5 as far as electoral bond disclosures are concerned and encashments are concerned. The left parties are the only ones to have categorically refused to accept donations via electoral bonds. Meanwhile, today, the Supreme Court has said that there is, and I quote, no manner of doubt that it had directed State Bank of India for all electoral bond details to be revealed when it presented its order on the 15th of February. Now, the Supreme Court has ordered State Bank of India to disclose the unique serial number details to the Election Commission. Top industry bodies CII, FICCI and ASSOCHAM have opposed the move and have asked the Supreme Court to defer its order asking for disclosure of the unique serial codes. We'll get to that in just a bit, but the court has also pulled up the Supreme Court Bar Association President Adish Agarwala and Advocate Matthew Nedumpara for their interference in the bonds case. Take a look at what transpired in court today.
There's no manner of doubt that SBI is required to make a complete disclosure of all details in its possession. This, we clarify, would comprehend the alphanumeric number of and the serial number, if any, of the bonds which were purchased and redeemed.
Now, my submission is the entire judgment has been rendered behind the back of the public at large. This judgment doesn't constitute recidicator. This judgment doesn't constitute recidicator.
1 second.
Yes.
1 second.
This judgment is void.
Please listen to me. You're not, 1 second.
I am a citizen of this country.
1 second.
Yes.
Don't shout at me.
No, I am very soft.
Please listen to me.
Yes.
This is not a Hyde Park corner meeting, okay? You are in the court.
Yes.
You want to move an application?
No,
file an application. Mr. Agarwala, apart from being a senior counsel, you're the president of the SCBA.
Yeah.
You should know the procedure. You have written a letter to me asking me to invoke my suo motu jurisdiction.
Yes, my lord.
No locus to mention
So
anything.
that I should not disturb lordship. We should not waste it honorable time, court's time. That's why.
Lord,
Only that.
These are all publicity-oriented stunts. We will not permit it.
Not a handmaid of a.
Whatever lordship feel better.
Mr. Agarwala, please keep it at that. I may have to say something more, which will be perhaps a little distasteful.
Well, tough words they're coming in from the Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud in the electoral bond saga in court today, making it very clear State Bank of India needs to disclose all details, and the SBI chief has also been asked to file an affidavit by the 21st of March saying that it has revealed all details. Now, industry bodies CII, FICCI and ASSOCHAM have asked the Supreme Court to defer the order asking for the disclosure of the unique serial code of electoral bonds. CII, FICCI and ASSOCHAM, the three chambers, in their plea have argued that anonymity is critical for preserving donors' privacy and guarding against adverse reactions from opposing political factions. Ashmit joins us now. Ashmit, why is India Inc. circumspect about donations being revealed via the unique serial codes?
For the very first time in the electoral bonds case, today we heard the views of corporate India. Never before today have they appeared or argued in the Supreme Court on their names being disclosed as political donors. So what do they want? Let's take a look. India's leading industry bodies, the CII, FICCI and ASSOCHAM today appeared before the top court and for the first time openly batted against disclosure of alphanumeric serial numbers of electoral bonds. They argued that they are comfortable with two separate lists of corporate donors and recipient parties, but they strongly opposed releasing serial number as that would link the two sets of information and disclose specific donations by corporates to a particular political party. So why the concern? Well, there are a number of them. The biggest concern, however, for India Inc. appears to be that of political vengeance and retribution. And they are not mincing words. The plea by Assocham, for instance, very clearly says that due to anonymity, many companies had picked these bonds due to fear of consequences from political opponents. They argued that preserving privacy was critical in guarding against any adversity by parties to whom contributions were not made. The plea argues that information linking one company to a party can be hugely damaging. Concern number 2, retrospectivity. Industry bodies have argued that bond scheme allowed for anonymity. They argued that the Supreme Court order has retrospectively applied a higher standard of disclosure. This, India Inc. argues, is against the principle of certainty and predictability. They claim that this undermines the rule of law. Concern number 3, no hearing. The industry bodies claimed before the top court that not once were they heard. They claimed that the Supreme Court had passed orders without hearing concerns of corporate donors. Their applications have argued that the principles of fair hearing and natural justice should be respected. And finally, concern number 4, statutory rights. Corporates have sought to argue that the law gave them the assurance of confidentiality. They have argued that there was a legitimate expectation of confidentiality, and this formed the basis of their decision to buy these bonds. This confidentiality, as per the industry bodies, was a statutory right. The Supreme Court, however, was not impressed with these arguments. The court observed that it had passed the interim orders way back in April of 2019 and that the interim orders had put to notice all stakeholders about the uncertainty over legality of electoral bonds. The whole world knew, the Supreme Court observed today, and that corporates had looked to join this hearing only after the Supreme Court judgment. So for now, clear directions for SBI to release the serial number of electoral bonds.
Ashwit, many thanks, and you can catch our conversation with senior advocate Sanjay Hegde on the electoral bond saga on News Centre at 9:30 p.m. right here on CNBC-TV18. CNBC-TV18's newsbreak has been confirmed. The promoters of Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC will together sell up to 11.5% stake in the company through the offer for sale route. The sale will help meet SEBI's minimum public float norm. Aditya Birla Capital will sell 4.99%. Sun Life India AMC Investments will put up 6.48%. Remember, promoters Aditya Birla Capital and Sun Life India AMC Investments together hold over 86% stake in the AMC currently. Now, the Supreme Court has imposed 50,000 rupees in costs after it rejected Adani Power's plea seeking 1,400 crore rupees in late payment surcharge from Jaipur Vidyut Vitran Nigam. The top court has said that the company cannot seek to review a case more than 2 years after final orders were passed. The court had ruled Adani Power was not entitled to a surcharge in 2020. Torrent Investment, which is in the race to acquire Reliance Capital, has sought the refund of 75 crores that it deposited as earnest money under the IBC. Now, earnest money deposit is where interested parties deposit a certain sum to express their genuine intent to acquire the distressed asset. Sources tell us Torrent Investment has initiated steps to retrieve the 75 crore rupees of earnest money, and the administrator is examining the request. However, any definitive decision regarding the refund is poised to await the outcome of the Supreme Court hearing. Remember, Torrent Investment has moved the Supreme Court against the second round of auction for Reliance Capital's sale. Shares of Coke Ford slipping in early trade today. This after the company's board approved a fundraise of 3,200 crore rupees through a qualified institutional placement. However, details of the QIP, dates and pricing have not been disclosed by the company just yet. Well, here's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. The Department of Pharmaceuticals will be holding meetings with industry stakeholders over the next 2 weeks. Sources have told us that these meetings will be held to ensure stricter implementation of rules under the new Marketing Practices Code. The meetings will begin with discussions with vaccine and drug makers, and this will be followed up with a meeting with medical device manufacturers. Infosys founder Narayana Murthy has raised the bar for grandparents. He's gifted his 4-month-old grandson Ekagra Rohan Murthy shares at Infosys worth 240 crore rupees. The 4-month-old boy is now the owner of 0.04% stake in the IT bellwether. He is N. Narayana Murthy and Sudha Murthy's third grandchild born to their son Rohan Murthy and daughter-in-law Aparna Krishnan. Their first 2 grandkids are the 2 daughters of Akshata Murthy and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Tech giant Apple currently in talks with Google to potentially integrate Gemini's generative AI engine into phones. According to Bloomberg, the smartphone maker is considering adding features including image generation and writing assistance via Gemini. This will reportedly be a part of iPhone's latest software upgrade. Apple is also said to have held discussions with ChatGPT creator OpenAI. The India-UK free trade talks have been put on hold as the Model Code of Conduct is in effect. We learned from sources that talks are expected to resume in June. The negotiations, which began 2 years ago, aim to secure an outcome for bilateral trade between both sides on several categories, including goods, services, investments, and intellectual property rights. Now, India will become the hub of innovation in the world. That's the word in from Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. Speaking to my colleague Akhil Vishwanath at the Startup Mahakumbh, the minister said the event, which is over 1,000 startup exhibits and more than 1,000 investors, will be an annual one. Take a look.
How is the Josh when it comes to Startup Mahakumbh?
High, sir. I think the Josh is truly high. The Josh is truly very, very infectious. And the Josh is visible in all the young men and women who are not only displaying their wonderful ideas, who are demonstrating that Bharat will become the hub of innovation in the world. And all the youngsters who have come from across the length and breadth of the country are going to go back encouraged to do much more, much better. We want competition amongst all these young startups so that every Indian gets a better life in the future.
You saw the curtain raiser, you said you want this to be an annual event. Is it going to be an annual event?
Yes, this Startup Mahakumbh is going to be an annual event. And I believe that it's going to get bigger and bigger. Even this time we have a wait list. We have not been able to accommodate all those who wanted to participate. But I'm sure the wonderful work the organizers have done this year will encourage more of us to put in effort, greater effort, to make India truly the startup hub of the world.
Well, that's the Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. Coming up next on India Business Hour, Italian luxury brand Bulgari, hot on India, says the country could be amongst its top 5 markets in the next decade. An exclusive with the global CEO coming up. Catch all of CNBC-TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Now, the NDA sealed its seat-sharing deal in Bihar. Out of the 40 seats in the fray, the BJP will contest on 17, followed by Nitish Kumar's Janata Dal United on 16 seats. Chirag Paswan's LJP has been allotted 5 seats. Jitin Ram Manji and Upendra Kushwaha's party have been allocated a seat each. As the Model Code of Conduct kicks in, the Election Commission of India has ordered the removal of West Bengal Director General of Police, has also issued orders to remove Home Secretaries in 6 states, including Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Himachal and Uttarakhand. Administrative Department Secretaries in Mizoram and Himachal have also been removed. And in Mumbai, the Municipal Authority Chief Iqbal Chahal has also been transferred. The Kerala government has moved the Supreme Court seeking a stay on the citizenship amendment rules. In its plea, the state government cites that the CAA rules are unconstitutional, adding that categorization based on religion and country are discriminatory, arbitrary and contravene the principles of secularism. Delhi's Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal skipping Enforcement Directorate's summons in the Delhi Jal Board case. AAP claims the DJB case seems to be a plan to arrest Kejriwal and stop him from campaigning for the Lok Sabha polls. Kejriwal already faces summons for questioning in the Delhi liquor police case. He skipped 8 summons so far. The death toll in Gaza has now risen past 31,700 as Israeli forces stormed Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital for the 4th time. The operation has come after Israel claimed that Hamas fighters regrouped inside the facility. Meanwhile, reports suggest that an Israeli delegation led by the Mossad chief is due to visit Qatar for talks with Hamas. The talks could last at least 2 weeks. Vladimir Putin set to overtake Joseph Stalin as Russia's longest-serving leader as he claims a landslide victory in the presidential elections. He's brushed off Western criticism that the elections were stage-managed and used his victory speech to warn of a possible Third World War if NATO enters Ukraine. On to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Italian luxury brand Bulgari says India will be amongst its top 5 markets in the next decade. Speaking to CNBC-TV18 Shivani Bazaz, the company's CEO Jean-Christophe Barbin said that India's jewellery market is big and there is ample room and scope for luxury brands. Barbin also spoke about the company's expansion plans. Take a look.
Italian luxury brand Bulgari has been Indianizing its offerings lately to tap into the Indian market. The Bulgari Mangal Sutra, priced at around 4 lakh rupees, has been a rage, and the company says that it's consistently out of stock. The company has also launched the B01 Kada as the newest India-specific launch. The company's brand ambassador and Indian actor Priyanka Chopra was instrumental in the making of this iconic jewelry piece.
Local, very strong tradition of specific pieces like the Mangal Sutra, like the Kada, and there to fuse some of our icons, the way we did with Priyanka Chopra with the Mangal Sutra, where we took basically Bulgari icon, and together with Priyanka we worked a design which is the Mangal Sutra, but it's a Bulgari Mangal Sutra, so it's not any Mangal Sutra. And this has worked incredibly and still works because it's a permanent reference. Likewise, when we launched the Kada, we didn't design from scratch. We took B01 bracelet and we made a special one for Indian gentlemen, corresponding better to their taste because they like pretty strong bracelet, and I think this one is quite strong. But it's still a B01 bracelet. Sure. It's bigger than what we usually do, which is more for women. It's in yellow gold when usually we do it more in white and pink. And it's specifically made for India. But again, it's a fusion between one icon, B01, and an Indian tradition, the Kada. So I think that if brands like Bulgari are capable to Indianize some of their icons without compromising, obviously, the DNA of those icons, and at the same time to find luxury environments, then, I mean, the sky is the limit because there is a culture, there is a tradition, there is a desirability. In the case of the Mangal Sutra, it's a close collaboration with an Indian person who is not only an image ambassador, because for us, Priyanka is far more than an ambassador in the purely communicational standpoint. She is obviously the best you can dream, but at the same time, she is an Indian lady. She's international as well. Now she's a global superstar. And she perfectly feels what Indian people like, but being also living in the US, she masters very well this art of fusion. And she's very clever additionally. And so collaborating with people like her obviously can provide us with ideas which will resonate emotionally very strongly with Indians without compromising with our DNA, because what Priyanka understood when working on the Mangal Sutra, that it couldn't be a Mangal Sutra coming out of the blue. It had to be born out of an existing Bulgari icon. And she decided that Bulgari was probably the best base for a Mangal Sutra, and she was right.
Well, global luxury brand Bulgari betting big on India. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Do stay tuned. There's plenty more coming up right here on CNBC-TV18. For now, thanks for watching.
21वीं सदी भारत की सदी है। 125 करोड़ देशवासियों के परिश्रम के बल पर भारत फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग मेजर इकोनॉमी बन गया। 10 वर्षों में हमने अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था में $2 ट्रिलियन और जोड़ दिया। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है भारत पूरी दुनिया के सामने एक मिसाल बनकर के उभरेगा।
Watch PM Modi share his thoughts on Dream Sports presents News 18 Rising Bharat Summit in partnership with Hindustan Times, 19th and 20th March, only on News 18 Network.